All right, AJ, here we are again. 5 minutes on the clock. Slightly new setup for both of us, though, so we'll see how it looks, after it gets edited.
That's up to the post-production team, aka you.
Yeah. Okay. So, but yeah, excited for this one because we're going to be talking about motivation, which I'm just really motivated to talk about. I know you've got some statistics. I'd love to just get your breakdown. I know there's 3 main types of motivation that like everyone fits in one of these boxes. You've got some information on like how SDRs and top performing SDRs sort of align with these different types of motivation, right? You want to dive into that a little bit?
I sure do. Yeah, if you want to very roughly put someone into one of 3 different boxes, when it comes to motivation, it's motivated altruistically. That's a hard word for me to say. Altruistically, extrinsically, and intrinsically. And I put them in that order for a specific reason, because moving up, that's like the higher percentage at the end, the beginning, lower percentage. So reps who are altruistically motivated, meaning that they feel motivated by simply helping other people. Roughly 2 to 5 at the high end percent of SDRs kind of fall in this category. It's not really a great personality for sales in general. Like sales is all about helping somebody else, but like for your own gain in some capacity, right? Like I don't do sales because I just like helping people. I make money. Someone who is altruistically motivated does not care about the money. They're doing it because they want to help people. So you'll find SDRs who actively raise their hand to help newer reps with training, run workshops, really give them like a leg up within the organization. Like those are reps who are motivated altruistically. Extrinsic reps are kind of the more classic SDR that you would see. They're motivated by money. So if there's a contest in place and say the prize is a $100 Amazon gift card, a rep who is motivated extrinsically is probably going to work a bit harder to get that gift card than others. Contrary to popular belief, about 15%-ish of top reps are extrinsically motivated.
That's low.
It is low. It is like shockingly low. Noting, of course, that 2 to 5% was sort of the first bit, 15 the second bit. So over 80% of reps are actually motivated intrinsically, meaning that they respond really well to encouragement and recognition from leadership and simply just winning. Like they want to win because they win. They're motivated by seeing their name at the top of the leaderboard. They're motivated by seeing their name shouted out by a member of the leadership team in like their company Slack channel, for example. Less monetary based and more just knowing that you did a good job and that you're being recognized for doing a good job. So it's interesting that it's broken up that way because, like I said, most people assume extrinsic is how you motivate people, but in reality, not 100% of the time the case. Actually, like, only 20% of the time the case.
Yeah. And it's interesting because I'm sort of obviously thinking of sports analogies where this fits in. Tom Brady would be a classic, like easy to point, intrinsically motivated, right? Took pay cuts for years, 7 Super Bowl. We don't need to dive into the details.
Just wants to win. Like
he just wants to win. He's still playing because he wants to win. His wife is a supermodel, has just as much money as him, if not more. Like he just wants to win, right? I was trying to think about like Michael Jordan. Yes, just wants to win, but also clearly cared a lot about money. Like the stories of him gambling specifically.
I was gonna say maybe a detrimental amount of cared about money, but yeah.
Anyway, the point is to say that like it's often easy to assume that it's really about the money, but I think you're right. Like if you look at examples just in the real world, celebrities that have a lot of money that continue to do what they do, you have to ask yourself why, right? They have tens, hundreds of millions of dollars, right? Why did Kevin Durant request a trade? He's going to make $45 million either way, but he wants to win.
Different podcast that we can talk about.
Yeah, well, our sports podcast. Yeah. But yeah, so those numbers are interesting. So do people already know their own sort of type of motivation style, or is that something that they maybe need to suss out with their manager or feel out? How does that process work in the SDR role?
So I think to use the word intrinsic would be odd here, but like intrinsically, you know what motivates you, right? Like you know when you do a good job and somebody praises you for it, what it means to you. If it's money, if that means more to you than like a pat on the back, then maybe you're a bit more extrinsically motivated. If someone gives you a gift card because you did a good job and they don't do anything else, you're like, well, why didn't you shout me out to the company, for example? Maybe you're a bit more intrinsically motivated. I don't think you inherently know that immediately going into like your first sales job. It might take some time to figure out, but you mentioned it, and it's a huge component to this. But like, communicate that to your managers, and managers listen to your SDRs, because one of the biggest fallacies in all of sales is assuming that reps are all extrinsically motivated. And when you have a team that's underperforming and you just assume that throwing money or gift cards or swag or whatever it is at them will help solve the problem, and it doesn't, it's because you're trying to fit a square peg in a round hole. And you are only doing that because you didn't ask your rep, is the peg that I'm trying to fit into the hole of the thing here the right size? Is it the right shape? It's probably not. And that's only because you didn't ask them if you were using the right motivation to really tap into that. And SDRs, you have to be proactive about it, right? You have to tell management, like, hey, listen, thanks for the gift card. Typically, not something I respond to. You have to have that safe space. You have to have that open communication. Otherwise, you're going to end up just either burning money or burning reps.
Right. And I feel like a feedback loop is huge to have there, just with your own reps. You run a contest, figuring out why someone may not have participated. They could have just like been having a bad week. Maybe their personal life, their girlfriend broke up with them. I don't know. But it could just be they were like, I don't really want $50 to Amazon. I don't really go on Amazon. I don't really need a ton of money, but just like I want to win things. So if I could, get a shout out, like get an announcement in the newsletter or like some sort of internal company email, that sort of thing would go a lot further, even though in your head you're like, well, that's easy, that's cheap, that's free, versus a $50, that's like money. It's a lot more tangible. So I understand like why people might assume one way, but yeah, having that conversation, especially debriefing, getting feedback from contests and things like that, is a huge way to go towards figuring that out for your reps. All right, AJ, 15 seconds. Tell everybody about opt-in.
Opt-in, quick 5-ish minute videos, actionable sales development tips, minimal fluff. You can find us on YouTube, on LinkedIn, on our Instagram, and on the website, demanddrive.com.
Oh, how does it look, by the way, when I'm looking at my screen right now? Is that fine? Is this better?
Same thing with what I assume I'm looking like. I'm looking at my screen, but I'm also looking at the camera.
Right. Talk to you.
Don't do that.